What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a great day. It's obviously Thursday, so the Premier League weekend is already upon us. Because it's Friday tomorrow, and then we're gonna have the games on Saturday and Sunday, and the football is gonna be full throttle now up until the World Cup. I think it starts November the 16th. So we're gonna have football from now on every week. 2 games every week: Champions League, Premier League. Up until up until the World Cup basically starts. So obviously we just had the international break, and that's why I haven't really been active. I only posted one video in the past week, I think, talking about the team of the season, the Premier League team of the season so far. But obviously I'm going to be posting content regularly from now up until November, because we're going to be getting games thick and fast every week. But today, I'm not doing a video for the purposes of talking about a game. I actually want to talk about I actually want to talk about a topic which doesn't bother me much. Used to bother me, but it doesn't bother me much. But I think it's a topic that I would like to have. Because I think there are some hypocritical football fans out there who kind of like, obviously you're going to see what I'm talking about as I'm going on with the video. But obviously, before I go on with the video, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. It really massively helps. And also please push the thumbs up button so that you can get push the thumbs up button to like the videos, and also please push the notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. So guys, obviously going on with the video, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about what is the concept of a glory follower. There's a lot of fans who label other football fans as glory followers. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure some of you are laughing already, because most football fans who are called glory followers are Manchester City fans, because obviously Manchester City, they're not really as historic a club as Liverpool Football Club or Manchester United. And they only started winning trophies after getting the new ownership, like getting the Abu Dhabi backed ownership with Sheikh Mansour, obviously pump funds into the club, and then obviously the club has obviously reaped the rewards of that, and they've been successful. So what is this concept of a glory follower? First of all, obviously, I think the people who get irked the most by being labeled as a glory follower, I'm talking about City fans who get irked the most, are those City fans from Manchester, England, who've always supported Manchester City since birth. And they've obviously, when they were growing up, so like people who are like 25 right now, or who are like 20 is too young, 25, 30, 35. So people who were born like in the 90s and grew up in the 90s, or people who were born in the 80s, grew up in the 80s, grew up supporting City. They saw City getting relegated to the 2nd division. They saw City playing in the 3rd division. They always used to support the football club. So they didn't just start supporting the football club because the new Saudi, not Saudi backed, but the Abu Dhabi ownership took over City and obviously pumped funds into the club, and the club started winning. The club actually has a lot of supporters going back to the 80s, 60s, 70s, 90s, people who supported City long before City won a trophy. There's a guy called Big Steve. He has a YouTube channel as well. And basically, the guy, like, he's like in his 40s now. He's from Manchester, like Manchester, England. And like when he talks about being a City fan, he talks about going to Main Road. He talks about playing in the 3rd division, cheering his team on. He talks about saying, he basically says, he used to tell himself this, that if Manchester City can just win an FA Cup, one FA Cup, he would die for that. He would die a happy fan if City were just to win an FA Cup trophy in his lifetime. Because obviously City were not like, they were like in the 3rd division, 2nd division, they got promoted and they like to the Premier League, and then got relegated again. So like the club has a history of not being successful in the past, but also the club has a history of being successful in the past, because in the 60s and early 70s, there were guys like Colin Bell, Mike Summerby, Francis Lee. Those guys were playing in the City team, and the City team had basically I think won 2 league titles during the 60s, and then they also won they won a cup, Winners' Cup. Like it's basically it's the Europa League basically right now. It's the Europa League. It was called the Cup Winners' Cup right back then. So there was a period in the club when the club was successful, but obviously not as successful as Man United or Liverpool or Arsenal under Arsene Wenger. So again, I'm dissecting here a little bit. My initial question was, what is the concept of being a glory follower? And what do I mean when I talk about hypocritical football fans? So I'll first answer the first question. Obviously, a person who's a glory follower, in my opinion, I would label as someone who basically, let's say they support a football club, right? So I'll make an example. So let's say someone supports Man United, right? And they supported Man United beginning in 1995, let's say. So Man United win all these trophies. They win the treble in 99. They win back-to-back league titles in the 2000s. They win back-to-back titles 3 times. So like they basically are Premier League champions 3 years in a row in the 2000s. And like their players like Wayne Rooney, Ronaldo, David Beckham, Roy Keane, Andy Cole, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, all these football greats, Eric Cantona, Teddy Sheringham, all these guys who are held in very high regard in terms of the upper, like the history of football, like Premier League greats. All these guys used to play for Man United. And then they win the league in 2013. And then obviously they haven't won a league title since 2013. So let's say someone was supporting Man United all this while, and then they stop supporting Man United in 2014 or 2015, and they start supporting City. I would label that person as being a glory follower, because you supported Man United all of these years when they were winning, and as soon as they started having a consistent run of not winning, you stopped supporting them and you supported the next team that was winning. I think you can label a person like that as a glory follower. But you cannot label a person as a glory follower just because they support the winning club. Like you couldn't have said in 1999 when a person who's a football, like who's starting being a football fan, and they decide that they're going to support Man United, and you label that person as a glory follower. Because anyone can pick and choose which club they want to support. No one forces you to support Norwich City or Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool. Everyone has the right to pick their own football club in terms of the club that they want to support. But you cannot then start changing from the team that you first supported. Like you basically first supported that team during a period when that team was winning, and as soon as that team started losing, you stopped supporting them. I think you have the right to label that person as a glory follower, because why are you changing when your club has stopped winning? So I think that's what, in my opinion, is a glory follower. And my next question was, what do I mean when I talk about hypocritical football fans? When I talk about hypocritical football fans, I'm talking about people who call, for example, City fans glory followers, whereas those people support Chelsea, Liverpool, or Man United. Because if you're going to label someone who supports Manchester City a glory follower because Manchester City win, the question I like to ask is, when did you start supporting Liverpool? When did you start supporting Manchester United? When did you start supporting Arsenal? And you're going to hear them saying, well, I started supporting Manchester United in 2010. In 2009, Man United won the Champions League. In 2009 or 2010, I think Barcelona won the Champions League in 2009. I'm not sure. But you hear them saying they started supporting a club in a year when their club won the Champions League title. Why didn't you support West Ham United, who didn't win anything that year, if you are not a glory follower? Because I'm telling you now, most people start supporting clubs when they're young. And the only reason why they support those clubs is because they've seen that club lifting a trophy. And it looks like it's a jubilant celebration. And they decide that they want to be a part of that. And they decide to support Man United. Why didn't you start supporting Man United in 2016 when they were losing? And you said, I'm going to support Man United. So, like, why would you call a supporter supporting a club like Manchester City, a club with no history? Like how other football fans like to say, people who support Man United or Liverpool or Chelsea, they're going to call Manchester City a club with no history, a club that's never won the Champions League. So then why would a person decide to support a club that's never won the Champions League? Why would that person be a glory follower? Because if you're a glory follower, then you want to support the club that wins everything. And Manchester City are not yet winning everything. They're winning everything in England, but they're not winning everything yet on the continental stage. They've never won the Champions League. They've never won the Club World Cup. They've never won the UEFA Super Cup because they've never been on it because they've never won the Champions League. So I think there's a bit of hypocrisy with people calling Manchester City fans glory followers, especially people who support clubs that have won before. And they started supporting those clubs when they were in their pomp and they were winning everything. It's like Chelsea fans. Obviously Chelsea actually has a bit of history before Roman Abramovich became their owner. They were participating in the Champions League. They were winning FA Cups in the 90s, in the 80s. But they were not a powerhouse in football. They were not Liverpool. They were not Man United. They won occasionally, but they were not at that level in terms of the history. And you look at the way that Chelsea fans, in terms of the number of Chelsea fans, skyrocketed when Roman Abramovich became the owner and the club started winning Premier Leagues. I apologize there, guys. My video was stopped by my alarm, so I'm just going to continue with what I was saying. So I was saying that Chelsea fans skyrocketed when after a while, when Roman Abramovich had basically became the owner, because the club started winning the Premier League. They started winning the FA Cup. They started winning the Carabao Cup on a consistent basis, and therefore attracted more football fans. So I really appreciate the fans of football clubs football clubs like Manchester City, clubs who did not start by winning, clubs who were in the third division, who were in the second division. I appreciate those football fans who supported those clubs back then, because they're never going to go anywhere even if the clubs start losing again, because they know what it feels like to lose. Unlike the fans who never supported losing clubs, yet have the nerve to call people who've supported losing clubs before, and now that their clubs are winning, they have the nerve to call those people glory followers. Like, for me, I'm a City fan, obviously. I love Man City, to be honest. Like, I watch Manchester City all the time. I watch whether we lose or we draw or we win. Obviously, we'll win most games. But I remember, like, during 2019-20, that's basically, and 2016-17, those are the two worst seasons of Pep Guardiola's career at Manchester City. 2016-17, didn't win anything, got knocked out of the round of 16 in the Champions League. 2019-20, only won the Carabao Cup, got knocked out of the quarterfinals in 2020 during that season, didn't win the Premier League, didn't win the FA Cup, didn't win the Champions League. But obviously, we still won something, so it's not really the litmus test with regards to me being a glory follower or not. But my football story in terms of the club I first started supporting, I started basically watching football probably in 2016, 2015, 2016, and that's when I started supporting City. The first club I started supporting was Real Madrid. Now, why did I support Real Madrid? I used to play PlayStation. So the first time I had a PlayStation was in 2010 when I was in first grade. That's the first time I had PlayStation. I used to play FIFA on PlayStation. Now, I first started playing PlayStation in 2009 at my friend's place. So I get there, like, for the first time, and obviously, like, it was not just like my friend. It was like, we were a group of friends. Basically, it was me, it was my friend who I'm talking about who had the PlayStation, and a group of other guys. And then we basically decided that we're going to play a tournament. So, like, it's my first time, right? So I don't even know, like, what a tournament is, because, like, I've never played PlayStation before. I don't even watch football. And then they asked me, which club do I want? I say, I don't know, because I don't know anything about it. Like obviously I've never played PlayStation before. I don't even know what teams exist in football. So like I say, I don't know. And then this other guy tells me that you should pick Real Madrid. And I ask why. And then he says, because they have Ronaldo. And Ronaldo is the best player in the world. And then I said, okay, well, I'll pick Real Madrid because they have Ronaldo then. And then that's when I started like basically supporting Real Madrid. I never watched them on TV. I just used to play with them on PlayStation. And then basically, I started like basically playing PlayStation and kind of getting an understanding of the rules of football, like all the other teams and stuff like that. But I still didn't watch it. I just used to play it on PlayStation. And then I watched like a couple of times Real Madrid like winning the Champions League. Like Real Madrid won the Champions League in 2014. Yeah, they beat Atletico Madrid in 2014. I did watch that game. That's probably the only game I watched during that whole year. But basically, I supported Real Madrid basically because it was the first team that I basically knew in football, and they had Ronaldo. And then basically I started obviously hearing about Ronaldo, reading about Ronaldo as I was growing up. And obviously like Ronaldo is a superstar and all of that stuff. I actually like some of my habits that I have right now. So sometimes when I go to the store, like I have a policy. I only eat sweets once a week. Like I eat sweet treats once a week, and that basically comes from Ronaldo, because I like when I was young, I used to try and follow his diet. I used to try and follow like I remember asking my mom to buy me like a cooking spray, because Ronaldo eats with a cooking spray. Like when he cooks his things, he doesn't fry them. He cooks them with a cooking spray. So I idolized Ronaldo and supported Real Madrid because of that. And when I started watching football, La Liga was very boring. That's why then I just didn't stop watching it. I didn't support any club there. And I started watching the Premier League. And I started watching City. Obviously, I watched the other clubs as well, like Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea. And then I then started supporting City. And for anyone who would label me as a glory follower, why would I stop supporting a club like Real Madrid with a rich European history? Real Madrid are football royalty. They're European royalty. They're 14-time winners of the Champions League. Manchester City have never won the Champions League. They've only arrived like 10 years ago. And they've basically, in their history, they've only won 8 league titles. Why would I stop supporting a club like Real Madrid, who's won over 30 league titles in their league? They've won over 10 Champions League titles, of like 14 right now. Over 20 Copa del Reys in Spain. Why would I stop supporting that football club and support Man City if I was a glory follower? For me, if you're still going to label me as a glory follower, I think you have no logic. Because there's no way in hell, because Real Madrid have never had a period of not winning in their history. I would understand if I said I was a Man United fan, and then I then all of a sudden say I'm now a City fan. I would understand if you would call me a glory follower, because then, like, why did you stop supporting Man United when they stopped when they stopped winning and started losing? But for Real Madrid, a club that's always won, still winning right now, why would I take all the flack from people? Because you see, when we, like, as friends, when we have football debates, if I was a Real Madrid supporter, no one would talk to me. Because I've won the Champions League 14 times. No one else has ever won it more. See, the only debate I can't speak on as a City fan is the Champions League debate. Because I don't know what it feels like to win the Champions League. I've never won it. Even Chelsea fans, if I start bantering them about them being weak and not winning, they're just going to raise up the question of the Champions League. And I have nothing to say because I've never won the Champions League before. So why would I put myself through that as a fan instead of just saying, you know what, I just support Real Madrid? I've won the Champions League 14 times. So I think some football fans are hypocritical. There's a lot of hypocrisy talking about glory followers and stuff like that. I think anyone is entitled to choose what club they want to support or which club they want to support. No one forces anyone to support Burnley or Norwich or Southampton or whatever. If you want to support those clubs, you can support them. That's your own choice. No one forces you to support like no one forces you not to support Man United or City or Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal or Tottenham. So I think, yeah, man. Certainly we can't call Tottenham fans glory followers because I mean they've never won. So yeah, man. I think those are my views with regards to this whole concept of glory followers and stuff. I think there's a bit of hypocrisy in the debate. If you obviously don't agree with me, you can comment in the comment section down below. And give me your views. Yeah, man, guys, that's the video. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate you watching the video. Please push the thumbs up button to like it. And then also please push the notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel, guys, because I really massively helps the channel. And yeah, man, please give me support. Yeah, appreciate you guys. My name is Dukani Sochikela, and yeah, man, see you tomorrow. I'll be previewing the games of the weekend tomorrow. Obviously, there's the Manchester derby, there's the North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. So some cracking games this weekend. But I did read something on Sky Sports saying that there is a possibility that the Arsenal-Tottenham game could get postponed because of rail strikes. I think the railway workers are basically they're striking because they want a wage increase. So they've been basically protesting because of that. But as it stands, the game is gonna go through. So yeah, man, but I'll update you guys tomorrow if there's any updates with regards to whether the game being postponed or not. But yeah, man, guys, have a good evening. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, man, thank you for supporting the channel and thank you for watching the video.